Imagine finding yourself in a deep pit surrounded by several hungry lions with no way to escape. The only thing between you and certain death is your faith in God. This was Daniel's reality, and his story, recorded in Daniel chapter 6, shows us just how God protects those who remain faithful to him. Daniel was not a soldier trained to face danger. He was a servant of God, a man devoted to a prayerful life. Daniel was among other bright young men captured from his homeland in Judah when the Babylonians raided it. Daniel was trained to serve in the Babylonian court under the rule of King Darius. Despite living in a foreign land with foreign gods, customs, and language, Daniel never gave up his faith. Even far from his homeland, he stayed loyal to God, and over time, his faith and integrity earned him influence and respect in Babylon. King Darius was so impressed with Daniel's outstanding skills that he planned to put him in charge of the entire empire. This angered other officials who were jealous of Daniel's rise because they could not bear the thought of a foreigner being elevated above them. They looked for any weakness to use against him but found none. You see, Daniel was flawless in his work, consistent in his character, and honest in all his dealings as an employee. The only vulnerability they could exploit was his devotion to God. And they did exactly that. These jealous officials convinced King Darius to issue a law that for 30 days, no one could pray or make a request to any god except to the king. And anyone who disobeyed this decree would be thrown into a den of lions. Daniel knew the law and the consequences, but he did not change. The Bible says he continued to pray 3 times a day, just as he always had. Daniel prayed because it was part of his life, not for attention, and he chose obedience to God over his own safety. The officials soon caught Daniel praying to his God and demanded King Darius to enforce the law. But King Darius was distressed because he liked Daniel. It was at this point that the king also realized he had been tricked into enforcing this decree by the jealous officials. But the law could not be reversed. So, with great sorrow, King Darius ordered Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den. Daniel was lowered into the pit, and the stone was sealed over so that he couldn't escape. The Bible says that that night, King Darius could not sleep. He refused food and could not stop thinking about Daniel. At sunrise, King Darius hurried to the pit and called out Daniel's name. To his shock, Daniel answered. Daniel told the king that God had sent an angel to shut the lions' mouths. Daniel went on to say that he was innocent, which is why God had protected him completely. When Daniel emerged from the den, there was not a scratch or bruise upon him. The same lions that could have torn him apart in seconds had left him completely untouched, demonstrating the divine protection of God. King Darius responded by punishing the officials who had plotted against Daniel. The king also issued a new decree. He commanded everyone in the kingdom to honor and fear the God of Daniel, the living God whose power saves, delivers, and performs wonders. Daniel's faithfulness did not just protect him, it influenced a king and changed the laws of a nation. As believers, Daniel's story reminds us that faith does not always keep us out of dangerous situations, but it will keep us safe while we are in them. Daniel faced a real threat, yet his obedience and loyalty to God brought divine protection and deliverance. God will do the impossible to protect his people. So if you ever find yourself in a situation that feels like a lion's den, where everything seems against you, where danger is close and escape seems impossible, remember the God of Daniel who never left his side. The same God who came through for Daniel in a mighty way is the same God who still watches over those who trust him and honor him. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Be blessed.